Well, we always like to honor the people, the family, black men, and but of course the native people, the okay, and we the term Chicago, it came from three great users.
Three great fires.
Thank
Council
you.
of Fires.
Council of Fire.
The Chiwe, Adawa, and the Paniwani. So here the best.
Thank you.
Yeah. And as well as Miami, Cocha, Honolulu, Sac, Fox, Kickapoo, and Illinois. Illinois. So many of the names of states that we have, I think the majority of them are actually their ancestors have images ancestors from religious groups. So we want to really ground first the steward, but of course, a long time ago, there were a few people who made up lies and enforced laws and used violence to strip those people from that thing and displace them and many cases murder all of them. The same people also set up lies to justify enslavement, bringing over hundreds of thousands of Africans and creating a system that justified that exploited indefinitely over. That's also part of it. But throughout this whole time, there are always people who push back against this, right? People who have fought for freedom, who fought to end slavery, who fought to fund and found Chicago. And so I want you to spend a little bit of time pointing some of those folks who in this area did some of that freedom fighting work on the present that we are in today.
Well, of course, I'll use some actually.
Hey y'all,
Hey.
I can't hear at all.
Oh,
Okay. Birthday
okay. So who's that? Actually,
Years up?
December 4th.
Can you hear?
That's better.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you. Sorry. Thanks. Sorry about that.
December 4th was actually already not home, so we just had that, I don't want to call it anniversary day, but it's anniversary day, right? Of that happening. So yes,
And we're just popcorning some names of folks who in this area, in Chicago, Illinois area, have been fighting for freedom, who have made this place more equal. Thank you so much. Well, one or two more. Yeah, say, why don't you?
Jesse Jackson, very much a killer in the community. In addition to Bobby Rush, who's also a Black Panther intern congressman for many years. So, he played a lot of roles.
And there are other, just a couple of days ago, somebody brought up the Haymarket Square movement riot, right, which actually kind of made the conditions for the 5-day work week and put forward a lot of really challenging process. Any last one? Yes. Yeah. Self-determination for Chicago. Thank you. So those are some folks who have built and have fought in circumstances not unsimilar to the ones that we're in today to make the country, make Chicago, make Illinois a better place than how they found it. And really just ground in that history because they've come before us and they've made it before us. So we've been here before, and that gives us knowledge that we can do in this the same work, actually achieve change, and that we will actually do that. Done before. So we like to say, we did, we can, we will, to ground us in our legacy and also empower us to continue the that gives people today through fighting for reparations, we'll get it. But this is the thing that today gathering for the ground in space. It's invite us to say it together, right now. We did, we can, we will. Great. So thank you so much for walking us through that, for guiding us in the space, a little bit of history of here. Hopefully this is the foundation to go forward and inspire us to do the much change. So needs to happen. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Maria Beth, who's going to bring us through what we're going to be doing today. Yeah.
All right. Nicole just did a beautiful welcome to the space. And now we're going to make sure that we do the intro so we can introduce ourselves around the room. And of course, we want to go into the Get Free orientation so we can understand more about what Get Free is about and what we're going to try to do, or no, what we're going to do here in Chicago. And the Race for Repair campaign, I do not get into because there's so much in there talking about this country's next birthday, right? And of course, trying to plan a campaign of our own here in Chicago so we can get some action going and get some wins. So that is what we're going to do. And of course, because of this, we want everyone present. We want to make sure that we're not in our phones, distracted. We want to make sure that we, get a beverage and food when it comes, which it will be here shortly. We'll snap food with beverage. I love them, and of course, we want to center ourselves. So, if everyone with me will take a big, deep breath in, hold it, and then exhale. Okay, and with that, we are going to get into our intro. And of course, we want to say name, our pronouns, and where you're coming in from, and why you chose to attend our session today. And if you want to start with the Get Free crew, right? Just so we can, I'm Miranda, Alexandria, my pronouns she, her, queen. And I'm coming in from the Chatham area, south side of Chicago. And of course, I am here today because I believe in this work and what we're doing and why it's very important for us, especially as like the younger generation, to continue this work because we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors and then we'll have people standing on our shoulders. So we have to continue this foundation as we go forward. So I'm pass it to
Everyone, my name is Roberto. I use he and pronouns, and I'm coming in from Frederick, Maryland. And then why I decided to attend. Chicago's just a huge city, and it's a huge place for us to organize in. There's a lot of people. There's a big opportunity also for us to get wins operations. So starting here, organizing feels key. So that's why I came out here to support and spark something in the city, so we can get folks active and organizing in our community.
My name's Tyrone Christopher. Pronoun, they all call me as a poet named L. Ryder. And I come from the west side of West Haven Park, also known as the Henry Horner community, right by the United Center. And I just wanted to know this is my first time hearing about this incredible movement that you're all about to embark on. And this is going to be an incredible campaign to help everyone in our communities, not just on the west side, but on the south side, but everywhere across the city and our nation.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine. I'm from the southwest suburbs of Chicago. And I heard about the work in Chicago when really very there's so much injustice, such deep pain and uncompassion, and I just feel like it's not a pain, right? Like just feels like I was excited to hear about that. Really cool that
And then Naftali, you see your pronouns. You're from New York. And specifically, I think with drug history, we'll get injustice, we'll get oppression, we'll get inequality. Silence is complicity. And we'll take action against it. You are normalized. What's happening right now? Happening right now. This is what's military. Trying to organize against.
My name is Nicole. You heard from me. You heard my profile. I'm joining us from New York City. My heart, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, always. And I'm also here because Chicago has power. Chicago is ready for reparations. Chicago's already got a strong foundation in moving reparations. And so we can do a lot for Chicago and Illinois to get organized here by putting reparations into the conversation against the violence we're seeing right now. And I'm just going to make that happen here in this very cool city.
Ha,
Yeah.
yes, very cool. And if Aaron, I don't know, can you hear us?
Hi,
Hey, if you want to, you can say your name, pronoun, where you're at, or coming in from, and why you decided to jump on Zoom.
hello, I am Aaron Dilly. My pronouns are he, we, and they. I'm calling in from New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'm here because Miranda bullied me to come. She said if I don't come, she's gonna jump me in my sleep. That's scary. I'm kidding. I'm here because I'm trying to, work in Chicago, push unity, and then I'm really trying to push and look at activities that will unite us. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Appreciate you because yeah, like we all gotta get involved even when we're out of state because who knows when we come back if we can get, involved again. So we go ahead and pass it on to Sally to talk more about the GetFree Movement.
Everyone, it's Ollie here again. I'm just going to give an overview of kind of what GetFree Movement is and what we're trying to do. So why are we called GetFree? We're building a youth-led movement to repair past harms, remove ongoing barriers to equality, and realize a future where freedom is for all. And so we see repairing past harms and reckoning with these barriers to equality as a key to all of us getting free. And we cannot get free unless we look to the past of our country and look to all the sources of inequality today that the white supremacist faction has used to give themselves their own power. We're building a youth-led movement. Youth can be many things. I'm 31. I think I'm still considered youth. We're youth down there because we realize that within there's a really beautiful tapestry of reparations and dictations, and unfortunately there are not as many young voices represented there. So making sure that we're empowering and being part of this is extremely important, especially for us to take on the baton of so many people for abolitionist ancestors. GetFree started as a movement of organizers across race and place and issues who understood that the legacies of slavery and genocide are the biggest hurdles to us actually living up to our values of this being a free and equal country. That we want to realize true multiracial democracy, we need to go to the source of so many of the issues we see today, and that begins from this country's founding. I'm going to go on to this next slide. I'm actually not going to go on to the next slide because we're going to talk about that in a second. So what's good about what we're doing right now is we started back in 2023, and in the few years since the organization was founded, we've had some really big victories in some key areas. we forced the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, to sign into creation a reparations commission for the state of New York back in December 2023. We our pod in Philadelphia revived the reparations task force in Philadelphia by talking to the politicians there, making sure that they were actually doing their job and that it wasn't just a reparations task force on paper, but that they were doing the work. And then finally, this past year, we got the incoming mayor of the biggest city in the country, New York City, to sign on to our repair mandate to make sure that New York is a city of repair and a freedom beacon for other places across the country. And I wanted to bring up those examples because all those are us speaking truth power and us also getting our political leaders to follow our lead. And that is going to be a big through line of all the strategy we talked about today. But with that said, I talked about this repair mandate. I wanted to go through it a little more. I'm actually going to pass it around for people to read each part of the repair mandate, and then we go on. So I'm going to pass it to Nicole first for the first part of the repair.
Yes, restoring dignity, freedoms, and rights to all those known under racial, gender, and economic hierarchy and inequalities. Returning the wealth, land, and resources that rich corporations and 1% of communities for generations
Healing our communities from the ongoing drama and implants of policies, tides, and violence designed to define our humanity and to justify the few wealthy white men controlling and ruling over the rest of us.
Most of the lights kind of blurred.
Yeah.
But
You know.
words over past you.
Recognizing and reckoning with the whole truth of our history and how it has shaped our country.
Yeah, black.
Yeah.
Removing ongoing barriers to equality, rewriting rules to ensure that
Mhm.
the freedom for all, no matter our race, background, or state.
So this is like really powerful stuff here. I would have people kind of turn to someone next to them, but actually I think like we're a cozy enough group that we could kind of talk for them. What is standing out to everyone here? Like one of the key tenets of the pyramid. Like why does it stand out? Just take a look at these and like what part of it is like really really resonating.
So it for me is really realizing right and making sure that our race background don't determine how you are able to live. And I think that that's like the biggest issue. People won't know you, but just because I'm a black woman, there's already so many misconceptions that people have about me. And can we just be a person and you trying to just get to know me as an individual? You know what I'm saying? I feel like we in this country just really like, oh, I only know you because you're an Asian person. Or you're this person. But I already know. So especially you absolutely know nothing about it. So I hope we really start removing those barriers that's internal to how we just treat each other.
Yes.
There you go. One more thing that's resonating.
I think recognizing and reckoning with the whole of our history, it's so under attack right now. And there's so much information and so much explanation for modern day inequalities in our history, and so like telling the story of how why things aren't how they are, just gives people the information they need to actually fix those problems and and some state that's being so under threat right now for our action history because of the power. So I feel like if the United States has like a consensus understanding of what history actually was, it would make so many things easier.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, returning the wealth and communities for this exploitation is really important to like the wealth and wealth, especially like racial wealth gap in the country. The fact that over these past couple of years, all these billionaires died over like the white supremacist faction over their wealth. They built that. Which brings us this is kind of the framework for the work we do, and it brings us to kind of like our theory of change, which is we does anyone recognize the quote? Yeah, okay,
This is reading so in South Carolina, picking up better crime in the aftermath. Oh, nice.
Hey,
Of
welcome.
of the shooting in Christine. This was part of the flag South Carolina. This allowed them to finally change this as being the flag of South Carolina and inspired underground peoples through caption flag symbol of white supremacy. So,
I'm gonna pause for a second. It's cool. We just introduced ourselves. If you want to share just your name, what pronouns you use, and then what brought you here today.
Oh, well, my name is James McCoy. The pronouns is he, him. And what brought me here, well, I was invited. But Chicago is my home, so my hometown. Right? And anything about reparations or getting involved in the community or helping in any way possible, I like to, be informed about. Like to be up to date because I know we have a serious mission ahead of us. And it's about to get really serious. So I want to be informed on where every organization, what every group is doing, what the strategy is, all of that.
It's a great strategy session. It's a great way to get informed about all of it. Like, and then we could do.
well, this is also in our previous training that you
I'm kidding. I'm not telling. We're going through a theory of change, which is people power, people must taking action. And when we take action, like this picture, when it's like all over the phones, all over the computers, all over the news, because what it did is it created a narrative power in people realize what is possible. It was showing like a black woman taking down a sign, but it was showing what possible here. We're thinking about what is like our power to have this, our actions have narrative power that can shift people's beliefs and make people curious about what work we're doing and what they can do in their communities themselves. And then we can use that narrative power, then grow our movement, power we have that to political power, changing the law. So we have that example of us forcing Governor of New York to sign the reparations commission into reality was an absolute power. They just continue to do that. So that's like a big part of it. You're changing the cycle of taking action, shifting people's beliefs, and then using that to force local leaders to follow. And here's the thing, as I said before, our movement is when these are just like here. I mentioned this before, but we got the mayor of New York to sign on to a repair mandate, sign on to saying that prioritize making repair real for Black New Yorkers. We helped put pressure on Governor Newsom to sign reparations bills into law earlier this year. We got the Governor of New York to sign the Nations Mission. And we also we have a chapter at Temple University in Philadelphia, and they forced the president of Temple University to refuse to comply with the Trump administration. Trump administration trying to take away all these different departments, trying to go into increase the curriculum, the resources for Black leaders at this, and they forced him to support the students against his administration pass on the freedom of learning. So we've been doing this work. We can see that we want to continue to do across the board. So I'm going to pass this over to Nicole here about the choice that we face.
So thank you, Holly. Go through this. So Holly's broke down what we're fighting for, how we're fighting for it, how our movement is winning, and the world we can unleash when we actually win, repair, move reparations, and the ways that we've been for so far already. I'm going to speak a little bit about what we're up against. So America has the reason why we haven't actually repaired is because we have a real opposition. This is a new thing, I'll go into it a bit, but it's important to realize that ever since America has been a country, we've been in a battle between multiracial democracy, a place where human rights are equal, and truly fairly based on nothing as foundational of it, versus a country where only white wealthy men have the power and have rights. And so this battle has been going on the entire history of the country, since before the country even was a country. Because people, white men, who have had power before our country was founded, have been putting in place laws and rules to create racial hierarchy. This is a movement that existed during founding, during colonization, that created the genocide, so created the framework for justifying the African people, same movement that we see rearing up as the UK, violently attacking Black communities. And it's the same movement that came up in reaction to integration, right? This is a through line in American history, this force that is trying to actually only assert white supremacy and white supremacy. And this is the same movement that today is in power, right? Same shit. Take care of the Confederacy, to make America great again. This is the same movement that we see across our entire country. And this movement uses a few key tools that I spoke to a little bit: laws, lies, and violence. Laws to create racial hierarchy. Laws to say if you have one about African blood, you're Black inferior. Laws to say if you live in a Black community, you're pretty less white community. Lies of inferiority backed by fake sciences, like, oh, if you're Black, your skull is smaller and therefore you're not smart. Lies around even white supremacy is a big lie itself, right? And violence, over policing, KKK, lynching, right? These are the three tools that they use to maintain their hierarchy, maintain their privacy, and to enforce the creation of benefits to exploit other people through wealth and basically be the only one in power. And these laws, lies, and violence have not stopped. You know, we've had wins over the years, but even with the wins we've had, they continue to have ongoing impact. And so laws and lies that were created 100 years ago, 200 years ago, are having impact on today. Redlining ran 50 years ago is still having an impact on today. Jim Crow and slavery is still creating inequality now. Racial is still resulting in Black death to this day, right? And so even though we've won some terrain on the laws, the lies still exist, and actually the impact of the laws still represent on Black death. And not only are those policies still impacting, the reality of the story of how they're being fixed really matters, right? So I spoke about this when I was mentioning how important is the truth of our history. Even the how, why racism, why why Black people don't have such problems as white people. All the real history and laws and around why that's true are being passed in order to justify. So the Trump administration right now is radically this history. They're trying to do it in order to maintain the hierarchy of our existence. We don't know why we're unequal. We can't fix why we're unequal, right? So this is really an attempt. And they're also rolling back programs and laws that have been created to stop discrimination, rolling them back. So they're basically greenlighting discrimination. It's okay. And also rolling back programs that are built to help, those most impacted. So that's also happening, and as well as unwinding party rights and pushing for really, really sad. Is it basically do better? The last bit of it's coming into that was working at summer, not enforcing segregation, ideas challenging birthright citizenship, very, very hard one after the Civil War, right? Like deeply foundational right that creates, at least in the Constitution, equality across all people, citizenship against all people who are born here, who is just after that, right? All of these are about trying to entrench and deepen and bolster rights. So this is what we're up against right now. And these laws and lines and files have help us get us over to Miranda. We're going to do that a little bit. What that's looking like locally.
So, all people who are from Chicago, right? Let's talk about it. We live this every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, we got to and how segregated our city is and how we are continuing to deal with those effects. We have the police brutality of John Burge, right? Where 1972 to 1991, he was torturing and taking Black people to the street and torturing. In addition to some of the other struggles that we face, like the closures of our schools, on the south and west side. There was I know that y'all, I'm not talking y'all, I'm talking y'all. And I know you're from Champaign. Well, I'm the outskirts of Chicago. So, yeah, like, as far as that goes, does anyone have anyone to think about the top of their head?
Artists. They're talking about how they would charge way more than the value of slavery. People having
Yes, predatory houses that basically made England what it is today, right? So these are the kind of struggles that we will be facing in this time, right? But of course, we have a strong history of fighting back, right? I mentioned Fred Hampton earlier. Philip A. Randolph with the labor, right, of the school reporters. The contract violence, like into predatory housing contracts, so these are the kind of things that has built our history as Chicago. So it's like, how do we build housing, right? As we continue to go forward with things like the show.
And we have, local history of Chicago, as well as deeper national history, the abolitionist movements, rights movement. We're also the legacy of these they founded. So that's what we're about to do, right? Is to figure out how to strengthen this legacy and run some campaigns that build on this momentum and repair the damage that's done in heritage. So we're gonna play through reparations. We're gonna quickly go through just the political landscape on reparations in Illinois. And this is just like an overview, so we're in motion.
So y'all know, Third Ward Alderman Dorothy Tillman passed the Slavery Disclosure Act, or ordinance. Let me say, City's Ordinance Status Act, right? So that happened in 2002. However, the enforcement of that, a little lacking, but we continue to fight on. In addition to the John Burns torture victims actually receiving reparations, and whether or not you can argue all day whether or not that was proportional to the harm, but it has been able to actually at least extend to their families. In addition to a law that I'm actually currently trying to help write, difficult, thank you, HB 1227, which mandates that all companies seeking to do business with the states have to disclose whether or not they have any historical ties to the enslavement era, the slave trade, aka trafficking, and whether or not they receive any benefits. So we're talking about like insurance companies, things of that nature. So those are the kind of things, and that's been introduced by Representative Stoneman Harper. So, and it also has a Senate component, SB 2212, which I want to say is being held by Senator Lily Preston. So these are the kind of things that are currently happening.
Evanston also First in the Nation, prepare really model legislation to reparations of reality for Evanstonians that a lot of the nations follow, and so that's also very local in Chicago.
And of course, we have a task force. I am currently serving on that task force. We have met about 5 times now. I actually have some literature for anybody who wants more information on that task force, where we have been basically doing the work that the mayor has set us out to do. So we're excited to continue to work in this space.
And then there's also a statewide reparations effort going on in Illinois that's been underway for 3 years. So state level work and momentum as well. And
of course, we have on the ground organizations that are doing this work to make sure that we stay in the know and fighting on behalf. So this was EAT, also known as Equity Transformation, who held a demonstration during the Democratic Convention. Is that what I'm saying right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and of course, y'all see me up there on the y'all left hand side, and this, part of the Cobra as well. So making sure that we are continuing to lay out the groundwork and do work with the Congress Reparations Commission. There's Black Minds, like so many different organizations that are.
So lots of really strong foundations in Chicago, lots of strong organizing, already pushing for reparations, and now GetFree, another organization rowing the boat with making this possible in Chicago. And so we're standing on shoulders already, and we're lucky a lot is already underway. So where do we go from here? We kind of laid out the Chicago context, but nationally there's also context too. So next year is America's 150th. This is going to be a really key opportunity to kind of examine what has the history of this country been and where should it go. We also, the Trump administration is going to be whitewashing the story of America, erasing slavery, erasing, the harder parts of our history. And it's going to be a really big opportunity to show a counter story and a way forward for this country with this fact. So this is happening. And we've seized it in order to we're already there's a video that's great on our Instagram which you can watch that kind of lays out sort of this choice point we have for the 250th country. It looks like this. But there's already been an effort for erase history going on in Philadelphia right now, erasing like the true history of the country. This is just like a factor that is explaining the history of slavery in Philadelphia. The district is trying to take it down or has taken it down. Right? So we're in a battle for the history of the story of the history of this country and also what should go forward.
In other words, our entire history is being attacked by the Trump regime. not the administration. I'm just gonna call
Yeah,
that
for
the
sure.
regime.
Yeah, that's what we call it too. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's trying to erase every part of it,
Just
like
the tracks,
to have all of this. And when I was looking on my Facebook, hearing about this one, they getting ready to take out Juneteenth. And I said, wait a minute. Oh, no, 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 no. We ain't gonna let this happen here. Oh, no, no. Not on my watch.
And so, but this is very unpopular, you know, and so what we're
Mhm.
trying to do is see some of the momentum around how popular this is and really put reparations in the conversation around what we need to be doing going forward. So, again, our theory of change. Our plan is to really create a choice point around this anniversary, right? Around this whitewashed version of our history, around you know, the version of the Trump regime is out and really exposing the white supremacy they're trying to really enact versus reckoning with our true history, exposing our true history, and preparing this way or that way. We're using this moment to pressure politicians to
Mhm.
choose to go here rather than
Up there.
right? So you're with that's great. We're locked in. So our plan by next July is to make repair a national priority by doing a few things. Building up bases for their campaigns to push for reparations, especially to this anniversary. Chicago, Illinois, and other places in the country, to really make the coverage of the 250th anniversary a contrast between white supremacy and whitewashing versus repair, reckoning, truth, and equality. And harnessing like our people power to push politicians, especially the ones who are running for president in 2026, to really pour that vision of reckoning and equality in. So there's a chance here to really elevate repair nationally and put it in the conversation in ways that it hasn't been ever before. Because we're going to be like looking back at our previous 50 years, it's like a really nice long view moment to put reparations into the conversation. And we are working with three targets as running this campaign all across the country. In a few different places, we've got California, we've got New York, we wanted. We've got in Maryland, and who's this? Your governor, this guy right here. We're gonna be building power through our
That's our governor.
in Chicago and Illinois to also pressure Pittsburgh to really be more on the side of reparations. And these are all folks who have been trying to like establish themselves as opposition to Trump. And we're like, great, yeah, we love it, but opposition to Trump also means being for repair, being against racism, being for the policy of this man. So this is where we're going to be building. And we're going to start off here in Chicago by really inserting repair into the conversation around this budget. So before the end of the year, there is a necessity to pass the next budget. This budget has within it many repair policies that address, that help address the wounds of our country, that has, you know, that helps underserved communities that have been under by legacies of slavery. And right now it's kind of stuck in the process of legislation. So well, other part of it is going to be having wealthy people, like people who have benefited historically from like policies to actually fund those programs. So it's really a reparative budget. We're going to create an effort to push it across the finish line, put pressure on politicians to pass it, because Chicago. So we're going to elevate the way that Chicago needs repair in order to create political pressure for this budget to pass. And this has been in process, this whole broader campaign. In a sense, we're here. There's going to be a leaders gathering in early next year. We're going to like deepen these more. So we're going to be gathering with all of the countries together in Maryland to like really launch this thing. So we're with it. But really love to all the crew into the birthday on July 4th and creating pressure throughout that time frame. I hope there's an animation, okay? And also there'll be local campaigns running, including this one in Chicago to pressure Chris as part of this. And so our key things we're going to be highlighting and brainstorming around in the second are what are ways we can highlight the consequences of lack of happening operations in Chicago to build pressure on Victor, to build pressure for this budget. And what are ways we can highlight the worst thing of historic inequalities under Trump in order to like capture backlash against illustration bills for full. Because things are getting worse federally and very unpopular. I mean, it's just, so we're going to be thinking of ways to pull this out in order to like make as strong a case as we can. And we're going to get into this in a second. And actually begin to brainstorm what this would look like. So I'm going to toss it over to Roberto, but maybe before we do, yeah, you please introduce yourself. Hi, welcome. So glad that you're here.
My name is Carmen. I'm from originally in Indiana. My parents are from South Chicago, but I currently live in Northern Southern California. It took me a while to get here. But yeah, I am a senior at Northwestern studying Black studies. I heard about this at the reparations. Great, amazing. Good to see you.
Roberto, we're supposed to getting into the topics. Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was give y'all some context so we can actually brainstorm and come up with a tactic moving here today. So that's our goal here, is for us to actually brainstorm what we can do before the end of the year in taking real action. To do that, again, our theory change, we're focusing on using our people power, so organizing our folks to take action, we can impact that narrative power on that budget fight. We want to make it clear that the budget fight is about repair and is a way for us to actually address the inequalities that have historically been going on and use it in a way to actually push the budget over the line. So we're focusing on that, again, using our people power to shift that narrative power in that. And I'm just going to share a few examples of different types of tactics we've done. And then we're going to use these ideas to actually brainstorm an idea that we could do before the end of the year around the budget. So these were banner drops. These are very simple tactics to do with a small group of folks. And the two examples here are at the university. Natalie mentioned that we won a campaign pushing pressure on the president of the university not to comply with Trump. It began with a simple banner drop. So they did that. They got attention. They started collecting petitions. And then they held actions in front of the offices to push and pressure the president to do it. But they started off with that small banner drop with around 5 people. This is another example, another small group of folks. That's me right here holding the GQ flag. But this is inside the Smithsonian when they were threatening to take away exhibits on Black, Latina, LGBTQ history from the Smithsonian. We did a banner drop there that caught attention, got people to sign a petition, and pressured the Board of Regents of the Smithsonian to not comply with Trump, and they haven't complied yet. From what we still need to keep the pressure, because Trump is trying, Trump and MAGA regime continuing to pressure them. These are examples of like wealth actions we've done. So these are very good ways to shift the narrative. And the picture over here on this side was another action we did around the Smithsonian. We did a mock exhibit of the arts and artifacts and exhibits that the MAGA regime was trying to take down. And did a mock, we called it a, whitewashing our history mock exhibit. And we lifted up all the different exhibits that are there and did it in front of the African American History Museum. And then here, when the MAGA regime was attacking the Department of Education, slashing the budget, firing everyone, we did a mock funeral in front of the Department of Education. Did it in a way to uplift and celebrate the life of the Department of Education and committed to continuing the legacy forward. So another example of a mock action, something that you can do, be creative to call attention to something that's going on. And then the other type of action that we've done that's been successful as well is disruptive action. So the example here is in front of the Office of Budget and Management. So this was the first attempt, if you remember, Doge and what Elon Musk was doing, with Trump and so many programs are helping our communities. We went out there, we did a road blockade, and did a sit-in and block the entrance to the Office of Budget Management to actually call attention to what's going on. It was one of the first protests that happened during the Trump administration. Everyone was scared, and it got a lot of attention, and was part of the call to action for other people to start to protest, go on the streets, and do the same, and call attention to what's going on. This one in the middle, I don't know if you can see it. Can anyone see where that is? It's in Trump Tower. So inside the golden escalator that he came down when he announced his presidency, we had a group of folks in New York actually go in there. This is when the MAGA regime was attacking Black and brown cities around the country, and this is specifically when they were sending the national guard to the sea. I can't read the banner. Do you know what the banner is?
It says free DC.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah, free DC, now it's free, all this is free. So again, solidarity is standing up with DC, but also in New York. New York was listed as one of the next places that Trump was going to attack as well. And then another simple disruptive action that we did was at the New York Marathon, place where people kind of going there to like enjoy their time. We actually were there with signs talking about our campaigns as well, disrupting people's regular business and calling attention to what's going on. Again, examples. So it's like a Christmas event coming up. We do something like that, like a Christmas event, whatever it is. Kind of ideas of disrupting business as usual to bring attention and pressure to the campaigns that we are thinking about. And this last example is again we Natalia mentioned that we got Zoran, who's incoming mayor in New York, to sign on to our pledge. And the way we actually did it, we did this with Zoran as well. We did a bird down. So we actually found out where he was going to be, put the pledge in his hand, and asked him to commit, and he actually said yes. We tried to do the same thing with Cuomo, and it showed. He said, "Let go of my hand. I don't want to talk to you." That's what happened, and it showed that contradiction of like what these politicians at where they actually stand. So it's another tactic they can use to find out where the politician is, make a direct question, capture it on video, and expose kind of their actual views, their actual stance. So again, kind of 4 different types of tactics we can pick on. There's many more that we can kind of brainstorm together, and that's what we want to do. We want to brainstorm an idea of what we can do. And to do that, we use a simple criteria to try to land the best tactic. So we're going to brainstorm as many ideas as we can, and we're going to come back and use this criteria to help us figure out which one is actually the sharpest one. So first is urgency, creating urgency for repair. So again, making sure that's clear the tactic that we take on. We want to make sure that happens. And then activates young people. Again, we're trying to organize and bring in young people in this movement. So the tactic that can best help us activate. Nicole kind of covered this again, but we're just repeating here to kind of make sure that folks are understanding it. So our campaign, the national campaign, build up our people power. We want to shift that, make that narrative shift around the 250th anniversary, making that choice point, and building up in a political power to get commitments from those major candidates that can actually create change around the administrations. And again, just re-highlighting specifically for the campaign, we want to focus on 2 key elements, highlighting the consequences of that reckoning, and use the word worsening historic inequality that's been going on to show the urgency behind it. So the budget fight fixes this. We can highlight the urgency. We can either highlight the consequences of them not actually funding repair, giving more money to billionaires who are in line with Trump, the MAGA regime, and the white supremacists. And the other place that we can do is show the worsening things. so we can expose what's going on, how things are getting worse in our communities because our political leaders aren't standing up and not actually fighting for what our communities need. So with that, we're going to do breakouts. We'll do like a collective breakout. I'm going to give out sticky notes. I'm just going to ask y'all just to brainstorm as many tactics as you can, one on each sticky note, and then we'll kind of share back, and we're going to try to collectively use that graph that we had and plot the different ideas of on that chart for us to kind of narrow in on a direction. But as we're doing that, we got food as well.
Just had pizza, and then a few drinks in the back there. So maybe like before we do post-its, the two pizzas that we got, one is a regular cheese pie, the other is half pepperoni and half sausage and green pepper. But there's
Awesome. So while you're grabbing pizza, I'll put some sticky notes on your chairs, and then come back, and then we'll just kind of take the next couple of minutes to brainstorm.
Aaron, I'm sorry, you